What do General Motors, John McCain, Fox News, and Saturday Night Live have in common? Well, they've all been targets of President Trump's tweets in the past few days. The president is usually a prolific tweeter, but this weekend was unusual even by his standards. He posted 30 times on Twitter on Sunday alone. White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor is here to walk us through it all. So, Yamiche, one reason this is getting so much attention is it comes on the heels of the terrible massacre in New Zealand. There's a connection, though, it turns out.
Well, the president has really been on quite a tweet storm, and his mood has been angry. He's been venting on Twitter. He's been telling his 60 million followers on Twitter that he's someone who's really a victim of all sorts of conspiracies. And the mood really started on Friday when the president had an exchange in the Oval Office. He got some backlash for it. Let's watch what happened.
Do you see today white nationalism as a rising threat around the world?
I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have very, very serious problems. I guess if you look at what happened in New Zealand, perhaps that's a case. I don't know enough about it yet. They're just learning about the person and the people involved. But it's certainly a terrible thing, terrible thing.
There are a lot of people who think the president missed an opportunity to really condemn white nationalism and to point out that there were hate groups that are rising in numbers in this country. I want to point out a tweet that he sent out today that followed up on that exchange. He tweeted, "The fake news media is working overtime to blame me for the horrible attack in New Zealand. They will have to work very hard to prove that one so ridiculous." And what the president is really saying there is that even though this person named me and the shooter in New Zealand said that the president was a symbol of renewed white identity, I don't want anything to do with him, and the media is really trying to create this story. But I should tell you, the facts don't bear out what President Trump said in the Oval Office. The organization in New York-based Anti-Defamation League, they say that that hate crimes and white supremacist propaganda is on the rise. And in 2016, and 2017, and 2018, it tripled. The other thing to point out, the Southern Poverty Law Center says there are more hate crimes in the United States now than in the last 10 years. And a lot of those groups are white nationalist groups. So the president, as he said, it's a small group, is just wrong here.
So, Yamiche, we know, separate topic the president was on. The White House has been worried, been concerned about the coming results of the Mueller investigation, but the president used that over the weekend to go after and attack the late Senator John McCain. What did he say, and what was that about?
So I want to again read another tweet to you. This tweet was from Sunday. It says, "It was indeed just proven in court papers. Last in his class, Annapolis, John McCain, that sent the fake dossier to the FBI and media, hoping to have it printed before the election. He and the Dems working together failed as usual. Even the fake news refused this garbage." So what the president was talking about there was actually a Fox News segment. Ken Starr, who was the former independent counsel when President Bill Clinton was being investigated, they were doing a story on that. And the president was essentially tweeting what he was watching on Fox News. Now, it's important to note, one, that the late John McCain, he died in August, and the president has continued to attack him. Meghan McCain, his daughter, and others have just found this to be tasteless. It's also important to note that the president is in some ways saying that that the Russia probe was started by this dossier. That's not true. George Papadopoulos, a young advisor to the Trump campaign, he was bragging about Russia having evidence against and dirt against Hillary Clinton to an Australian diplomat. And that diplomat then told the United States, hey, you need to look into that. And that's how the Russia probe started. So the president's been misleading there.
And in a completely different vein, it's not just big names the president's been going after. He's gone after now a local union leader. And what's that about? What is it? Is some connection to manufacturing jobs?
Well, I again want to read the tweet to you. This is on Sunday. He tweeted, "Democrat UAW Local 112 President David Green ought to get his act together and produce GM let our country down, but other much better car companies are coming into the United States in droves. I want action on Lordstown fast. Stop complaining and get the job done." Here again was the president tweeting about a segment that appeared on Fox News just minutes before he sent this tweet out. Fox News did a segment about the fact that he might have trouble being elected in the industrial Midwest. They were also pointing out that the president came to Lordstown, or came to Youngstown, Ohio, nearby Lordstown, and said, "Don't sell your car. Everything's going to be good." In fact, everything is not going well there. Lordstown's GM plant is going to be idling. That essentially means closing. There are going to be a lot of people losing their jobs there, and the president is feeling the heat here. It's also important to note that that union leader, he said that he sent President Trump 2 letters trying to work with him to get this GM factory still open and to keep it operational, and he never heard back. So it's unclear whether or not that plant is going to be closed for good, but what's clear here is that the president is misleading.
Covering a lot of ground with these tweets. Yamiche Alcindor, thank you.
Thanks.